Hey everybody, this is Perch. I was reading a series of is a kind of an article that I think was at one point tweets. This is happening more and more lately, where people are doing these long Twitter threads of like 30 tweets, and then you head over to some online kind of news site, news source, and they're basically publishing this as an article. But it's written in a choppy way that seems clear. At one point, this was on Twitter, and then it kind of says originally posted on Twitter. Anyway, all stupid. Journalism is dead. What can we say? But it was talking about Matrix, the new one, the Matrix, not Revolutions, Reunion, Matrix, Cash Grab, whatever the new one was. And the premise of the entire thing was it was a brilliant movie, and Lana Wachowski was a brilliant director. And the whole thing was overall, it was a brilliant movie that succeeded on every possible level. It did not mention the fact that it didn't actually make a lot of money for Warner, but that's fine. We'll put that aside. But basically, it was brilliant. It was brilliant for one reason. It was brilliant because it subverted expectations and it did not give the viewers what they were expecting. And in particular, the entire red pill, blue pill, and it's I think the article, the Dude Bros, who tried to co-opt the movie for their own purposes, were masterfully rebutted by the director, who did it a different way. And they pointed out various scenes. I mean, they went to some trouble to go, the scene by scene. This is how the movie defied expectations, having parts of the film show as a film, kind of the various, making Trinity more the hero than Neo, and like just various aspects of turning the film genre on its ear. And the article is celebrating this as a good thing. And the reason it kind of caught my attention was that this has certainly been something that we've seen in comics, where that's one of the big things. This comic is meant to subvert your expectations. This comic is not meant to give you what you want. There was this couple months ago now, article written about the Ten of Swords event that was Krakoa, and how it was another one where it bravely and boldly defied expectations, and instead of giving you a sword fight or kind of a big mutant brawl for it all, instead it gave you a dinner party, and then it gave you a bunch of kind of silly little contests, and then in the last issue they realized they did have to get to the actual brawl, so then they did that. But by and large, it was a way to kind of thumb their nose at the traditional comic reader who had certain expectations going in of what they wanted. This is supposed to be a good thing. We've heard about it with Rise of Skywalker, the Rian Johnson one, and various other things of, hey, it's cool, it's a good thing when these comics actually do the opposite of what we expect, or these movies, or whatever it happens to be. And I in general, look, I think the whole thing is mildly frustrating, maybe not so mild, because all of these articles, all these little celebrations that occur of the director or the writer or whoever it happens to be, giving us something different, it assumes two things. One, that the end product that's actually being made is successful. Usually it's not. You'll notice whenever they trot out this thing defied expectations, it did not give the audience what they wanted. It gave them, something different. It subverted what they wanted. It subverted what they were expecting. Almost 100% of the time. In fact, I'm desperately trying to think of a case where it wasn't true. The movie or the comic or whatever it happened to be underperformed. It didn't do as well as expected. Ten of Swords was a commercial failure. A lot of stores pointed out that sales dipped during this run. The Matrix movie did not do well as a big kind of nostalgia. I mean, it kind of was crammed somewhere between nostalgia and I don't know, whatever the hell it was, but it didn't make a big impact. The much derided Rian Johnson film did make a lot of money. I believe it did cross $1 billion. And this is where it's unfortunately, lots of people will say what I'm about to say. It should have made more. It could have made more. Now, that's a guess on my part. By the way, for all of you, with the Kathleen Kennedy videos and everything else, there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, she's made a couple $1 billion for Star Wars, but it's underperforming where it should be. It should be doing a lot more. I think that's I think that's safe to say. I think it's fair, but all of us, myself, you, whoever said that, you do acknowledge that we're guessing. I mean, it's quite possible you put in somebody completely different and you get the same result. It's definitely possible, but it does feel, at any rate, like the noise, the absolute kind of chaos that erupted from that movie was detrimental. I think regardless of how you feel, you loved it, you hated it, that noise didn't help anything. The fight and the brawl didn't help anything. And I think because it didn't help, I'm being as generous as possible here, it feels safe to say it took money out of the pot, money that they could have gotten, right? So I'm trying to actually think and we're in a new year now, 2023. Actually, technically not. I'm recording this in 2022, but I know it's not going to get posted until 2023. I'm hoping that we can somehow, some way, move past this idea of subverting expectations, doing the opposite, giving these people who expected one thing the opposite, and isn't that cool? I'm hoping that this fad can come to an end, because it to me it's not helpful financially. These films are not making a lot of money. In a lot of cases, even when these products, whatever they might be, are celebrated for doing an amazing job of subverting those expectations, they tend to be forgotten about months later. Like nobody's holding them. Even the people who are really hail. Was it Rise of Skywalker? Or was that the last one? Fall of the whatever. The 8th movie, the Rian Johnson movie. Perch. It's all become a big movie. No, I guess Rise of Skywalker was the last one. Was the J.J. Abrams, what was that? The Last Jedi? The Last Jedi. Maybe that was it. Yeah, The Last Jedi. Ryan, yeah, of course. How could I forget? At any rate, very rarely does this movie come up genuinely of somebody going, I really love this. The only time you see people saying this is when they're trying to dunk on people, like, this was a wonderful film that a bunch of the incels couldn't appreciate. Or people are ragging on it, and then people show up to say, no, I secretly loved it. It's the best film I ever had in my life. But again, there's lots of evidence to suggest nobody's really thinking about this movie as one of the greats. I mean, I realize I'm living in this blissful time before we get this next Indiana Jones movie. It is interesting that in 2023, pre-Twitter, pre a lot of social media, the Crystal Skull movie came out, or Indiana Jones 4, and it sucked. It was a bad movie. It didn't destroy the franchise. You didn't see people out there outraged, super pissed off. It feels highly likely that this 5th film is going to accomplish what this could be back to finish the job. But I'm living in this blissful moment where you don't see a lot of people talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark being a toxic masculine movie, or being not as good. I mean, generally speaking, most people are like, yeah, it was a good adventure movie. People liked it. There's not a lot of drama one way or another. And that's what you kind of hope for with movies or with comics. You just want people to go, yeah, I had a good time with this one. This was fun. I liked it. No complaints. That's in general what you want to have come out the other end. Unfortunately, we live in a world where we're not given that. We're given this goofy subvert expectations. And by the way, I'm in it before somebody else brings it up. As a writer, as an artist, you should feel comfortable to pursue your vision, no doubt about it. But when you pursue your vision, number one, it's not a guarantee people are going to love it. You don't get credit for just pursuing your vision. You get credit for if your vision was good, if people responded to it. Just doing what you want to do is the definition of a participation trophy. Good for you. And number two, I think there's a major difference between doing it as kind of an independent comic or independent film on your own and taking over an established franchise. It's way different when Chelsea Kane makes that Man-Eater's book of the lady cats and anyway versus what she did on Mockingbird. Mockingbird's an established character for Marvel. Tons of comics, there's a lot to that character that has been established as part of that universe. Therefore, subverting expectations, breaking all the rules, doesn't work as well as if you're just doing something on your own. You're truly giving that artistic vision voice. I think if Ryan Johnson had made just, some sci-fi film not related to Star Wars, same general premise and plot, would people have complained? I don't. They might have, but they would have sounded pretty stupid if they had. But when you're stepping into something that's already established, subverting expectations, it doesn't work as well. Yeah, people, a franchise, an existing character, IP, people show up to see the continuation of that franchise. They do not show up to see you screw with it. Just, fair being fair. Anyway, I'm hoping that's something that we could retire in the new year. I think it's run its course. Tired. I don't have it. I don't have any more. Let it die. As Ryan Johnson, let it die. Let's just get back to, make your best, put your best foot forward, make the best thing you can. Stop trying to reverse psychology troll your audience. Just either give them what they want, or don't hide your bad story behind, well, you may say it's bad, but I was subverting expectations. Half the time people throw out the, we're trying to give somebody something that they needed versus what they want. Half the time when somebody says that, what always goes in my head was, yeah, this thing sucks. You knew it sucked. The story sucked. It was not very good. When the retailer and the review reaction to Ten of Swords turned negative, suddenly out springs all the, but we were being really clever. We were tricky. We were subverting your expectations about what an X-Men event should be. It's like, you know what? No, I think you all got stupid drunk and you made a story. And it turns out that, customers and retailers and people actually picking up this shit do not have the same, giddy excitement over your thing as, your fellow members of the X-Slack do. Turns out. Anyway, thanks for listening.